everyone, it's me. I know I haven't posted in such a long time of a video of just me talking. I randomly thought of an idea to talk about just so I have something to post and people will probably actually listen to it. So my idea is to talk about birth stories. All your moms will probably like to hear it. I don't know. But here we go. So I have 3 kids. The first one, I was 19 when I got pregnant and 20 when I had him. So I remember being at a party that my mom was having. I forget what kind, I think like Pampered Chef or something. And the lady had her son with her. And he says to me, because we were playing or whatever, you know, "Are you a mommy yet?" And I was like, "No, I'm not a mommy yet." And then like the next month, I didn't menstruate. So I was like, okay, I guess it's time to take a test. So I took a test. I was so scared. I was scared to tell my mom and dad. But of course, my mom was the first person to tell. My grandparents, I was afraid they would be mad at me because I was so young. They were not. So if you are a young one watching this, do not be afraid to tell anyone because you will need support. I found out in, I think, June of 2002 when I was pregnant with him. Yeah, so that was like a month before my 20th birthday anyway, so I wasn't really like too much of a teenager when I was 2 months before my 20th birthday when I got pregnant. So, but anyway, found out, told my mom, actually took 2 or 3 tests because I didn't believe it. And then, so I talked to her to see what I had to do because I didn't know. She was very supportive. Like always, Mom. Love you. So yeah, she told me what to do. I called the doctor, had gotten medical insurance, all that kind of stuff. And lo and behold, with the blood test, it was positive. So that pregnancy, I did not have morning sickness. It was actually very smooth the whole time. No morning sickness. I didn't get that big. Didn't gain that much weight. He was healthy. I only had to have like 1 or 2 ultrasounds, the normal ones, like the gender, like the 20-week to see if you can find out what gender he is or she. Just the checkup ones, whatever they do that for. Or like the blood work and stuff to check to see if they have anything wrong with them. So during that pregnancy, there was nothing eventful at all. Everything went so smooth. Even the delivery, so smooth. I had a midwife deliver for me. And yeah, so my water broke at 1 o'clock in the morning on February 9th of 2003. And I was like, when I was laying in bed, all I heard was like a little pop. And I got up because it felt like I was gonna go to the bathroom, like a little bit of pressure. And all of a sudden it just started gushing out. So I was like, wow, my water just broke. I was like, "Rick, wake up, wake up, wake up." He's like, "What?" I was like, "My water just broke." He's like, "Oh, okay." So I had to go call the doctor, And of course, she told me to wait a little while, like till 7 a.m. or something, and then go to the hospital because nothing, with your first child, usually nothing happens right away. So we went, and they did end up giving me some Pitocin because my water did break, and I wasn't, like, going quick enough, I guess, to get him out in a safe amount of time. But the Pitocin, yes, it does make it hurt just a tad more, I believe, but I am a ginger, so they say gingers feel more pain. So I don't know if it was just me or whatever, the medication, I don't know. So we went to the hospital, all that stuff. And then, yeah, he was born at 8:36 p.m. that night. So not eventful. Like I said, uneventful, very healthy. Love him to death. But I did find out when I was pregnant with him, I found out that, like, my blood type, O negative, and I have antibodies that reject anything that is in my body that my body doesn't think needs to be there. So the doctor did tell me that I might have issues having more babies because of my body rejecting it. So I was like, oh, I, like, obviously never knew that, so that was interesting. Anyway, so he was born on February 9th, 2003, and he was 8 pounds, 2 ounces, and I think like 21 inches. Very healthy, very hungry, of course, when he was born. Had to eat a bottle right away. But anyway, okay, so that was my first baby. Now my second baby is a boy also. Now, I felt like poopy when I was pregnant with him. Oh, I had morning sickness. It was so horrible. Very horrible. And that pregnancy, so I found out I was pregnant in December of 2007. I found out I was pregnant. Was it December? Yeah, I think so, because we were on a trip and we took a limo, and the lights in the limo made me really nauseous. And I was like, why are these lights making me nauseous? Why is this stuff making me nauseous? Blah, 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 blah. So then obviously a couple weeks later, I did not get my period and I was pregnant. So found out December 2007. He was born in August of 2008, August 13th. So yeah, basically very nauseous the first trimester with him. I did have some bleeding in the beginning with him, and they had to do an ultrasound to check on him and me, and they told me to just, like, lay down, like, a little bit of bed rest. I don't remember how long it was, though. Not that long, because I had to go to work, and I couldn't do certain adult things because they said it might help my body lose the baby or whatever. But so after, they told me I couldn't lift anything over like 10 pounds either. That was for the rest of the pregnancy too. I couldn't lift. And then I found out in an ultrasound. We had so many ultrasounds because of the bleeding. And then I found out that his placenta was covering, like, where he would come out. But then eventually, as he grew, it moved back to where it needed to be. I also found out that his placenta wasn't filtering properly, so I had to be on an aspirin while I was pregnant with him. I remember the morning sickness. Oh my God. I remember, this is disgusting, so you know, I remember throwing up in the toilet. I threw up, and the water that hit, the throw up that hit the water splashed back and went in my mouth. I was like, oh my God. I was so disgusted. It was so gross. But anyway, so that's basically like the first trimester. And then obviously like after that, I had to take it easy and not lift and everything. That was basically the rest of it, and the aspirin for the placenta. So that was the second pregnancy. He was born August 13th of 2008. Okay, so now I have my third pregnancy, which is my little girl. Well, that pregnancy was the worst pregnancy ever. If she was my first child, I would only have one child. When I first got pregnant with her, I was losing weight from from the second pregnancy. And I started working out and stuff, so I thought maybe my period was late because of that. So I waited 2 more weeks, and then 3 weeks, and I'm like, wow, I really need to take a test. So it was Christmas Eve, around Christmas Eve of 2009, that I took a test, and I'm like, wow, it came back positive. So I was like, oh my gosh, because we weren't even trying. And here, I started getting a rash in my armpits, and it was so itchy. And then it started to spread down my body. Like, it started like on my neck, down my body, this rash. So I go to the doctor, obviously. You know, you go to your doctor to begin with, get your blood drawn to make sure you're pregnant, obviously. So, but anyway, I go to the doctor. They're like, oh, I don't know. So I go to a regular PCP, and that doctor was like, you're pregnant? I was like, yes. And then he's like, did you eat anything, eat anything different, laundry soap, all those questions they always ask you when you have a rash or whatever. And I was like, no. So he's like, you need to go to a dermatologist right away. I was like, oh, okay. So he called the dermatologist and got me an appointment that day. So I went to the dermatologist, and the dermatologist was like, so you're pregnant? Yes, I'm pregnant. All those other questions about eating, laundry soap, all that stuff that they, of course, ask. So I was like, no, I didn't do anything different. And then he was like, I don't know. I was like, oh my gosh. So then he gave me a cortisone shot. He put me on prednisone and an allergy pill, because here, I guess, I don't know if him and my gynecologist were like communicating somehow, and they came up with that I was allergic to being pregnant with her. It sounds very, 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 very odd. And I was like, oh, okay. Because this rash, I'm telling you, it was horrible, because it was itchy and it would ooze. And it started from my neck and went all the way down to the top of my feet. Every nook and cranny. The only place it wasn't on was my face or the bottom of my feet. So he gave me those medicines. Plus, on top of that, her placenta did not filter properly either, so I had to be on an aspirin a day with her. Then they thought, well, so let's rewind a second. When I first found out I was pregnant, you know, when they do the blood tests, there's some kind of blood count that they do or whatever, and they're like, yeah, you're pregnant. Okay, so mine was really high. So they're like, we think you're having twins. And I was like, oh, well, twins run in our family. I was kind of excited because my grandmother's a twin, and I really did want twins, but I did not get twins. That's okay, though. I got what I got, and I love them to death. So anyway, they had to do an ultrasound because they thought I was having twins. But when they did the ultrasound, they only found one baby. So, okay. But anyway, so the whole time I was pregnant, the whole entire time, 40 weeks, actually, she was born 2 weeks early. So 38 weeks of torture. It was so horrible, okay? The morning sickness, the body reacting to the pregnancy, all that, like, I was miserable. Plus, with her, they had to do one of the whatchamacallit? The diabetes test. Glucose. Sorry. Brain fart. Anyway, they had to do that 3 times on me with her because they thought my water levels were so high. It was like a point away from them saying that I had gestational diabetes, but I never did. The test came back that I did not have it. So I was humongous with her, and it was mostly water. She was tiny. Okay, I did forget to mention how big my second baby was. He was 8 pounds, 12 ounces, and 21.5 inches long. And my boys, okay, they were vaginal deliveries. Okay, now the third one, I'm getting to that. So, and they were very easy to deliver. And I didn't have any, like, tearing afterwards or anything, like maybe 1 or 2 stitches. That was it. Very easy. So the third, my daughter. All that, the whole time, I had to be on those medicines. The minute she came out, I did not have to be on those medicines no more. So, that whole time I was miserable. My water broke. Sorry, I didn't mention that for the second child either. My water broke in the hospital with the second child, which was perfect because then they had to clean it up, not me. Third one, it was like 6 o'clock in the morning, and I'm like, I felt weird. I felt pressure. Felt weird. And I was like, Rick, wake up. And then I got out of bed, and my water broke. So that went everywhere. Had to clean that up. Called the doctor. Came to the hospital. When I got there, they checked me. I was already 3 centimeters dilated. I didn't even know. I had no pain, no nothing. I was just so sick and tired of being pregnant when I was pregnant with her. I just wanted her out. So we're in the room, the delivery room, and we're waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting for her to come. Keep checking me, and I'm only at 4 centimeters, and it's not going any further than that. And I'm like, I was deathly afraid of surgery. I never had any kind of surgeries before, so I did not want a C-section. I did not want it. So they came in and checked, and every time I had a contraction, her heartbeat would drop. So I was like, oh no. So they had me moving and rolling, and it just kept going down and down and down. So they're like, we need to get you into the OR right now and get this baby out. So we went there. I was so nervous. I was telling them the whole time, I'm like, I'm so scared, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. Because I've never done that before, you know. And then they're like, you're going to be fine. So I go in, okay, so let me rewind again. I had an epidural put in, I had an epidural for my first two boys also, just so you know. So I had an epidural put in for my third baby, my little girl. She's not so little anymore. Anyway, the anesthesiologist was leaving early or something like that, so he put it in, the needle in before he left. So in case if I went quickly, they wouldn't have to worry about getting it in my back. So that was in my back from about 4 centimeters before he left, and I was at like 4 centimeters. So anyway, okay, so I had to have the C-section. So we go in the OR, and they give me some of the epidural. Wait a few seconds or whatever, however it takes to kick in, and I feel the scissors on me as they were testing to see if I could feel. I was like, I can feel that. So they said, give her some more. Okay, they waited a second or so. They start with the pinching with the scissors on my skin down there. I said, I can feel that. So I could feel them. The epidural didn't work. I could feel them pinching me with the scissors to do the C-section. So they had to put me to sleep. They put me to sleep to have my baby. I was so scared. But then, I guess when I woke up, they say, well, this I do remember telling them that I couldn't breathe, and they're like, you're just fine, you're breathing on your own. I was like, okay. You know how like when you come out of like surgery and you have no clue what the heck is going on. Like you don't know what you're doing or interacting with, like you just have no clue. It's so funny. So they take me to the room. I remember that part about saying that I couldn't breathe and going back to the room that I was in. And I remember the lady accidentally running into the door frame with the bed, and she was like, oh my gosh. I was like, what the heck was going on? You know what I mean? I was just so out of it. But anyway. And then my baby girl, I got to see her after the medicine and stuff wore off. She had brown hair when she was born. I have red hair. I was born that way. Red curly hair, ginger, and my husband, he had like jet black hair, and he had darker skin. I for sure thought my kids were gonna be like darker skinned, dark hair, because you would think that would be more dominant. No. My first baby, he's more of like an auburn color, and he's very fair. Second one, he's a good mixture. He had blonde hair, bright blonde hair when he was little, and he tanned, but he's not gingery. And my daughter, like I said, she had brown hair when she was born, and then it turned bright blonde. She was bright blonde, she tans, everything like her dad, but obviously the blonde hair instead of black hair. So I got to see her. I got to hold her. She was 7 pounds, 4 ounces, and 20... No, she was smaller. I think she was 19 inches. So, yeah. I love her. I love all 3 of them so freaking much. So yeah, those are my 3 birth stories. I don't know if I forgot anything. If you have any questions, just put them down in the comments. I will answer them. So yeah, those are my stories. And yeah. Oh, sorry, and her birthday is August 14th of 2010. So my second baby, he was born August 13th, And then 2 years later, she was born August 14th. So while I was in the hospital having her, they were at my mother-in-law's having a birthday party for my 2-year-old. So I missed my 2-year-old's birthday party. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry, Colin. But you already know that. It's so funny. We always talk about it. But anyway, so I hope you all have a good night. And as always, thank you for watching my videos. Bye.